today is going to be a good day. I'm not usually like super hyped on the guests. Like I'm always stoked to have people come in and do this, but today I'm really excited on the guest. Today we have Jace, aka Gypsy Tales, coming in. I've talked to Jace about doing this podcast for quite a while now, but we had always talked about doing it while he was in Oz and we were here and trying to figure out how we would make it work. But now he's in California and we found a way to make it work. So super excited to get Jace on and talk about his story a little bit. I figure he's always talking to people as the host, getting their stories. So I figured we would get his story. As always, thank you to Claiborne for keeping us stocked up, keeping us healthy. You know how it is. Got to eat our vegetables, and I make sure I eat mine. If you're looking to get some fresh gear, go to Fast House's website and use FHMediaPub30 at checkout. Get yourself freshened up with some fresh sets of gear. Should I just come in today with the Bobby Altoff shit? Just be super awkward with Jace. Just ask him a whole bunch of weird questions and ask him if he'll give me money for nothing since he's already successful. A lot of talk about that chick. Nah, I'm not even going to bring her up. But excited to be here. Excited to have a sick guest to talk to. And yeah, leave some comments. Let us know how we do. And who else you would like to see. I'll try reaching out to him.
We normally spend a lot of time in Bali, but it's kind of
Bali. That's sick.
got a little bit of shit these days.
Has it?
Yeah, just so many people, man. Like it never used to be like that.
Is that thing going to stay there?
No, yeah, this should be sweet.
Cool. It's nice that you know how all this shit goes. So like usually this is when I'm telling
Like how to adjust.
Right.
The mic
This is
and all
usually
that
what I'm
shit.
telling the
Bring it up
person.
real close.
yeah, you know where to keep the mic, and in my head I'm like
This is
I know
gonna sound
they're
shit.
not going to do it because
Yeah.
every time they turn their head they're
Yeah,
talking at the fucking wall and not into the mic.
Yeah.
So this is sick that
I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Actually a professional, so.
You're our favorite.
Yeah, I
Well,
appreciate it.
Dude, I must
Absolutely.
say, there's, I love doing this, and I love every time I have a guest on, like regardless of status or who they are.
Yeah.
But I must say this is probably the most excited I am for a podcast.
Oh, that's sick.
For sure.
Hopefully I can deliver.
Yeah,
Oh, you already have.
I've been talking to you for a while about coming on, and
Yeah, definitely.
I always thought that you're a really good host. Like on your podcast, you're super good at carrying the conversation and keeping the flow moving. And if the conversation starts to slow down a little bit, you're really good at picking it right back up, asking the next question, keeping it going. But as a host, you tend to sort of be you're the host, you're the person asking the questions, you're the person diving into whoever you're talking to's story, right? So I don't know if you've ever had the chance to really dive into your own story.
Yeah, little bits and pieces, like especially I guess the last couple of weeks, like being here and going on a couple people's shows and stuff. But
what, before you get too deep into that, what are you here for? Because obviously we're in my living room in Marietta, California, and we have you live in the flesh.
Yeah. So I've been working on getting back here for a while. So I basically just had like an issue at customs coming in one day. I lived here from it was kind of like on and off based on like the visas and stuff that I had. But like I spent a lot of time here between 2010 and 2018, which was my last time over here. And yeah, I had like a visa finish, and then I had some health problems, and I like left the country in the middle of applying for a visa, and like it ended up being one of those kind of like weird visa deals. And then I tried to come in, and the guy just was like sorry bro, and basically like if you get bounced the way that I got bounced, like it puts a ban on your passport basically. So like I just couldn't come back. So I've spent, and then I didn't really have, because I had like a business here, I had all my equipment here. I was like, I'd been here for a long time, you know. And yeah, so I'd sort of had to get back. I had to get a visa, but it's like, what was I going to get a visa for now, you know?
Right.
And then yeah, just kind of like ironically, it made me focus on Gypsy Tales, and I just treated it as like a full-time job from day one. Thought it could be good. Knew I had like the audio visual skills, and like no one in Australia had built like a Joe Rogan style studio, where it's like fully enclosed, the TV's on the wall, 4 mics, aircon, soundproof, like all live switched, the whole kind of deal. And I was like, man, I just feel like if I build it and they will come, you know.
For sure.
And I think it took me like 18 months to get my own like studio. And then, yeah, so that's like still in Australia now. And then, yeah, so it's sort of what let me get back here essentially, because we started doing so much moto stuff. So I got like a visa to do the podcast now.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, so just full charge now, hopefully.
When you started the podcast, did you go through a period where you were sort of doing it like this, where it was like super low budget, or did you jump right into?
No, well, I mean, it was always, it's like, so I always had like a warehouse. My brother owned a warehouse in the Gold Coast, which is where I did it out of initially. And then he went in on this, on another warehouse. So like I went in on that with him, and I was like, all right, I'll build my studio upstairs. You've got your space. And like it was actually me, him, and my best mate Sammy from Fist. We were all in that warehouse together, and we all just slowly like outgrew it. But because my studio was there, I kind of stayed there. But yeah, I think it was like July 2019 when I finished that studio. And dude, it was like we got the building in January, and it took me to July to get it done.
Damn.
Because I just didn't have any money. Like I literally was probably making like, maybe like $3,000 a month off the podcast at that point. And I was like living in a super cheap apartment and just like
making it work.
Yeah, no money, and just like one week I'd buy timber, and then the next week I'd buy flooring, and then the next week I'd buy insulation, and then I handmade the table and painted it and sanded it. Like, so it literally took me 6 months to like build the studio. But yeah, it was pretty dope when we like actually got it done.
That's
so sick. Yeah, it was just low budget, and I just took every cent that I made from it. Had like a 2016 Honda 450 that I wheeled around, and just made it happen. You know?
Just made it work.
That's cool.
So.
Do you feel? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you feel like once you went all in though and built that studio, do you think that kind of like put the pressure on yourself to like, hey, I got to make this work because I just invested a lot of money in myself? Like, do you think that helped, or did you already just like?
I kind of had that mentality from the start, to be honest. But like, so yes, but it was from day one. Like, I just kind of knew I didn't take on any other work. I didn't like. I was down to be poor. Like, I was like, I'm gonna be poor and doing this until I make money at this. Like, I'm not going to try do other shit. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm just literally going to pump out episodes. And the one thing, it was always like a huge project to me in terms of like, I had a real idea of like, this is the kind of workflow I want. This is how many videos I want to make. And my goal was to make like $1,000 a week on YouTube. Like, that was my first kind of like big goal. And so, yeah, it took me like years to do that. But yeah, so I kind of took it pretty serious from day one, didn't take on any other shit, and just fucking grinded to make it happen. Because like, I definitely felt like it could be a good thing. Like, there was no one else doing the way that I was doing it, and I had like a vision in my head of what I wanted to do, and nobody else was doing that, and nobody was doing the YouTube thing that good in like in the space. So I definitely I just kind of backed myself from day one. But getting the studio was probably was like a legitimacy thing where people started to look like, oh, this is fucking dope. You
Definitely.
know, like, and I could send people pictures of the studio, send guests pictures and be like, hey, this is my studio. Do you want to come do the podcast? Sort of.
I've heard people say that have done it, that you have a really dialed, clean, like professional looking setup.
Yeah. The studio at home is like legit as fuck. Like, it's so cool. I mean, the one that's here is cool as well.
You must have made the one here look pretty similar.
Yeah, I'll try. It's way more ghetto than home though. Like, home's like legit. It's like a room like this big, It's only for the podcast. It's
Yeah.
got, you know, tons of cool shit. And we live switch every episode. So I have like
that's a game changer.
huge,
That's sick.
dude. Like none of the cameras record to SD cards. Like they all go straight into the computer. I've got every single
Damn.
recording. I've got like it's fucking legit.
Yeah,
That's
that's
sick.
where I know how I want to have it and how I need to have it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we're working towards that, but it's funny because like I struggle with equipment so bad. Just, you know, we'll get a little bit deeper into one than I thought, and conversation's going good, and then all of a sudden I fucking hear beep beep beep.
Oh, man.
Camera
and I'm
dies.
like, fuck. And
It's
I,
happened
like,
to me so many times.
you know, and the person sitting there usually has no idea what that even means. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
they
good.
don't know what the beeping on the camera even means, right?
Yeah.
So they just keep talking, and again in my head I'm like, quality shit just going out the window right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm just fucking up,
Dude,
like,
well, if it makes you feel any better, I had a sick podcast with, you know, Mickey Mace? You heard of Mickey?
Yeah, the gambler?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we
Oh,
did
yeah.
3 hours, dude, just fucking dope. And then we lost an hour and a half of it. And so like, we're at the point now, we have like backups and backups and
Yeah.
like everything went. It was just like, you couldn't do it again. It was just like literally a freak thing. That it was basically like the cord from the microphone to the box went in the middle of the thing, and like so you could hear it, and it was going through, but it wasn't going to the computer basically.
Fuck.
So it's like there was nothing on the main recording, there was nothing on the backup, there's nothing on the backup of the backup.
we did a podcast with Christian Dresser. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
That sucked,
We did
dude.
we did a podcast with Christian right after X Games last year at Axel. So it was his first year.
Yeah.
So, first year getting the invite, fucking stoked kid. Like we're good homies with him, so it's, you know, a comfortable deal already. We have him come on, you know, have him fucking pour his heart out. And
2.5 hours, I think.
2.5 hours of good talking.
Yeah.
I hit record on the cameras, never hit record on Logic on the computer. So
Dude,
I had no audio.
Another one, literally, I was in Barcelona, CEO of Stark, and at this point, me and him were like, we're boys. Like, I was
Yeah.
literally staying with him for the whole week in Barcelona.
That's sick as fuck.
That is rad.
He's the fucking man, by the way. Like, that company is going to succeed based on him being the dude that he is. And so I was doing it by myself. We did it in the thing, so I didn't have any eyes on the cameras and shit. And so I've got C70s, and they do like all the face tracking, autofocus, like battery lasts forever. We got 6 hours, like we're good. And I recorded on the camera that was filming me, and then I recorded on I recorded on this one and then that one. But I got in front of the lens too close, and the face tracking dropped off, and didn't pick his face back up. And like, I've done all the checks, everything's sweet. We sat down for 3 hours, got no video. So I lost like thousands of dollars on that episode
It's
because there was
horrible.
no video.
As horrible as that is, there's a small part of me that hearing that makes me feel good.
Right.
Just because I'm like, okay, if
If it can happen,
if
yeah,
Jace
yeah.
is making little,
Yeah.
like, if little shit like that can happen to people like you, then we're doing all
Yeah.
right. Like,
Yeah,
everything's
dude,
everything's okay, because there's just so many times where I'm like, another fucking episode where I have to put like technical difficulties. Like, I have this little like
Yeah.
Simpsons fucking.
But that's why it's just about reps, man. You know, like, I think that's one of the things that stops people from ever like making it in this type of shit, is that they just can't weather those storms. You know, like there's been fucking, I mean, the US stuff, like when we have the US studio here to home, like it's hard to make happen the way that we make it happen. Like, there's a reason people don't do it. You know?
Absolutely.
And man, like, almost every time I'm just like, fuck this. And it's just like, you do a podcast, and then I'm like, okay, this could be better. Drop another couple $1,000, another couple $1,000, another couple $1,000. And you're just like, you feel like you're bleeding fucking money. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually up to? So,
But you know,
I mean,
you
it's
have
just,
something.
What's that?
You know you have something.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just got to bleed for your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And if
it's
it
just-
improves you, like if it improves
Yeah.
what you're doing, then it's
Yeah.
worth the cost.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
it's just
price.
Not all beer and Skittles.
Yeah, right.
And I often wonder too, like, because it's funny, I'll have, I mean, it's one of the coolest parts about doing the podcast is, like, you guys will know this, when you do something great that really resonates with people, you get all the messages and everyone's stoked on it. And I'm just, sometimes internally, I'm just going, dude, if you knew the fucking shit show of an operation that I was running right now, you know. And it's like we got 2 staff that work full time, and then a couple other people that work for the podcast, like contractor type deal. And it's just like fucking a shit show, you know, or it feels like it to me, because it's like there's so many moving pieces. We're in all these different places. We got studios in different countries, and I'm just like barely keeping up. People are like, man, you're doing good, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But on the outside, no one can tell, you know.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing though, because on the outside you're like smooth sailing, you're killing it, you're fucking out riding brand new Starks, you're still doing the podcast, like it's a
grind to make it happen.
That's a good juggle though.
Yeah, and I think
like that's impressive to be able to knock out, because even just doing this, like I know how much work it is to sit down and do a full episode, make the full episode for, you know, Spotify, YouTube, you know, the long duration, but then to make even just all the Instagram cuts and all that is a fuck ton of work for each episode.
Dude, it's pretty crazy, and like I have to give the biggest shout out to the boys that work for me. So there's two dudes that, I mean, so Ronan, he's the first kid that started working for me.
He's the one that like you'll hook up with some shit every now and then.
Oh,
like,
all the time. Yeah. And then so Alex, so Ronan started working for me, and I want to say like 2020 maybe. I don't really remember, but anyway, he was in year 12 at school, so he was like a senior in high school. He rides moto, makes moto edits, and I DM'd him on Instagram, and I was like, hey man, if you're looking for any extra work, like I need some help, because I think for probably the first 3 years I did it all by myself, like all the editing, all the everything. And I was like,
draining.
Dude, I was over it, like really over it. I just got sick of fucking seeing myself and listening. Like it just felt like, it honestly just felt gross after a point, you know?
Just so redundant.
Dude, I was just
listening to your voice over and over.
You're a fucking loser. Like everything you say is so retarded. And but yeah, so I like messaged Rones, and he started working for me after school. Did that for probably like 5 months or something, and then I offered him a full-time job. And he's been there ever since. I think he's been there 3 years now. And then Alex, he's the dude that does like all the podcast content now. Like
no shit.
It's literally that one dude, and he's just a fucking wizard, bro.
So
like,
do you have him like chopping up Instagram content basically?
So he does like all the full show edits, makes all the YouTube clips, makes all the Instagram clips.
Gotcha.
And then Rones does all the Instagram posting. And then Rones is kind of like my guy, like whatever.
Almost your like assistant.
Yeah, but he's like, he does all the vlog stuff, so like the Stark videos and all the, so he does like,
so he's a talented filmer as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're both like super talented.
Gotcha.
Both moto kids, and yeah, so he'll do, but he's the kind of guy, like if I'm like, okay, we got to get sticker sheets done, so like, here's the email, or I'll do an email with the intro, tag him in it. He does all our sponsors. So we've got like a really cool system now to where it's like we all play our roles, and then it's been one of the coolest things too, because like they're rad people. Like I love those guys, you know, they're like my boys now.
Yeah, and it's super sick for them, because like from the sounds of it, he's a smart kid. Yeah. And just being able to be around you and watch everything that you're doing and how you do everything, I'm sure he's like a sponge. He's just taken in.
Yeah, and I try and like,
he'll grow up to be a killer. You know?
Oh yeah, dude. I really, both of those guys, like I'd love for them to,
in whatever avenue they decide to go, like they're gonna handle it because of, you know.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where like I work on other business stuff outside the podcast now too, and that's where I want to like try and like create lanes for them where it's like, hey, fuck a job. Like I don't ever want you guys to feel like you've got a job. Like let's make money together. Let's
have fun. Yeah,
and they have a good life together. Like Rones is like, hey, my dad wants me to play golf today at 1, and I'm like, fucking do it, bro.
Have at it.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's fucking awesome.
It's one of the cooler parts about it.
I think one of the things about you that I was just super intrigued about was like how much your situation is similar to mine, sort of, at least back then, because right when I got out here, I sort of found a little Grom, just like out in the hills riding pit bikes. I didn't know anybody. I was just like looking for jumps and shit to hit. Yeah. And I just found this little Grom, and he was like 17 at the time maybe, and he just weird deal just happened to work out where like he somewhat already knew who I was a little bit or something, and I had no following. Nobody knew who I was at the time. Like, and he ended up like showing me some of his shit, and I was like, okay, like I see where like you're going. You just need some guidance and some help on shit. And I sort of just took him under my wing and like created this little fucking gangster that now he's like gone off to kind of do his own thing, and he's fucking better than I am at filming now, I would say.
And that's
like,
what you'd want, you know, like I say that to the boys all the time. Like, I really hope that you are better than me at this.
Yeah.
Like, I would be so pumped. And that's kind of the position I'm in. Like, especially Alex, man, like the way he makes clips, and like he's just a fucking wizard, you know.
My Grom kind of lost interest though. That's where my deal sucked, because he's a skate kid that got into moto, and you know, I don't know if you're familiar with like many core skate kids, but like everything becomes whack after a while.
Yeah.
And him just being a young kid, like moto just became kind of whack. He had like, when I met him, everything was sick as fuck. Everybody was the coolest.
He was so stoked.
He was so stoked on everybody. But then he, you know, we introduced him to everybody, and he figured a lot of shit out really quick and ended up kind of getting to work with everybody.
Yeah.
And once he got to work with everybody, the Twitches, the Axles, well, this shit's fucking whack now. Like, nothing's cool anymore. He just
did it. Yeah.
But, you know, he's still, he likes to film every now and then. He's still doing his thing. But to take it back, like, I thought it was fucking one of the coolest things ever that when I found you, you were basically, how I would see it anyway, is like a moto-based podcast that also is down to talk about pretty much whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're into jiu-jitsu and you're into this and that, and you're all down to, you know, talk with people that aren't just moto.
Yeah.
Which, when I started this whole thing, was kind of my mindset, was I almost wanted to use use moto to like be my base. And use the connections that I have in moto to just try to run through it. And build that into being able to hit up like a professional skateboarder, snowboarder, surfer, whatever, and have enough like respect as a podcast for them to be like, yeah, I'm down. And have that work into like musicians and fucking whoever, you know, or I would love to have like comedians or like, you know, we've talked about it countless number of times, but like I'm probably a bigger fan of MMA than I am moto. I'm just like so involved in moto.
Yeah, it's just like the world you come from.
It's like my first nature, you know?
Yeah.
But when I sit down to take in content at the end of the day, it's almost always MMA based. So like when I found you, I was like, how the fuck does this dude just happen to like be coming from the same, you know, sort of route that I am? So like where like what is your base? Like, again, I see it as moto, but like, did you get stuck? Like, how were you brought up essentially? Like, were you involved in like a whole bunch of different shit, or were you like just a moto kid?
Well, yeah. So it's like I had like I guess like a funny childhood of where, so my dad raced when I was a kid, and so up until I was like 5 years old, I was like full moto, right? And but then I had a crash. I like fucked myself up. I like had to get some of my intestines removed and shit. Some dude like parked his truck like right next to the track and like flung his door open. And I just can't, like one of those like crazy freak accidents like at a local track.
Holy shit.
So it fucked me up. And then my dad had he hit a cow doing like 140 Ks an hour or something like crazy. Jeez. Up in like way up north in the bush on like a desert ride. And so he was in
shit.
hospital. I was fucked up, and like dad raced his whole.
This
life.
wasn't at the same time period.
Yeah,
right?
literally. Like, so my dad had that accident.
So you
when
guys
I-
are both fucked up at the same time.
real close.
Oh, my.
Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. So mum was just like, done. I'm fucking done.
You're both cut off.
Yeah, like you're cut. So like
Yeah.
dad sold his bike, my Pee-wee went, and then I was like football, athletics, BMX. Like we were real like sport orientated family. But I was just obsessed with moto, man. Like my uncle still rode. I was just friends with every kid in the neighborhood that had a dirt bike. Like,
That was still like your
it's
route.
all I want. It probably made me love it more because I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
Yeah.
sure.
And then I had every fucking magazine subscription. I read everything like cover to cover. So I was just fully in it. And then I just got a job when I could get a job. And I think I was like 14 by the time I bought a 98 CR125 because I was like, Mum, I've got a job. Like I can buy whatever I want. You know?
I'm an adult now.
Yeah. And then dad was like, all right, fuck it. I'll get your brother a bike because he was like 2 years younger than me.
Damn, you kind of got boned a little bit.
Right.
I got heavily.
You had to buy it.
But that's
He
just
did.
big brother shit, you know?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of.
You paved the way for him.
Yeah. So I kind of had to deal with
That's
it.
fair.
But yeah, so then from there, from like 14 to 17 was just like full racing. I had a job so I could race, and then my brother was racing. My brother was really fucking good. Like he actually still is really good.
No shit.
And he works in the moto industry. Like he manages like Jack Miller, Toby Price, like
No
Jack
way.
Dillon, a bunch of like Shane Van Gisbergen that does NASCAR and
Sick.
VHS
Sick.
cars and stuff. So but yeah, so I ended up getting super into that, and I knew I wasn't going to be good enough to be pro. So instantly I was like, all right, cool. Like what can I do? And so I started writing magazine articles. Got into a couple magazines, and then when I was 18, I got offered a job to work at a magazine. So I like left home, drove a van down to Melbourne, and worked.
This is all still based in Oz.
Yep, all in Oz.
Okay.
Yeah, and I worked in this magazine for like 6 months and said, "Fuck this! Like I can't work for this dude. He sucks." And there was no Verb Moto of Australia, so that was like my big thing. So then I got a credit card.
So at that point, sorry to cut you off. At that point, you were still like were you following like America's
Oh yeah,
moto?
dude! For my whole life, I was following American.
Gotcha,
motocross.
okay.
Yeah. So I would go. Yeah, I mean, we'd every year for Christmas we'd get like Krusty Demons. We'd get like Terra Firma, like whatever the new DVD was out. Me and my brother would get like a DVD each for
Because
Christmas.
I
That's
always
cool.
hear that from like my Aussie buddies,
Yeah.
but it's just like so crazy to hear every time, like, you know, because being over here, growing up here.
Oh, you're so spoiled.
Yeah, we're you know,
What's where it is?
it's like foreign to, you know, even think about following like MXGP or, you know, like Japanese moto or Australian moto, you know?
Yeah.
But anywhere else, they're
We follow
still
here.
just diehard American moto. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I it started basically like the Verb Moto of in Australia. It was called mxdaily.com.au. I actually did my first podcast in 2007, which I completely forgot about up
No
until like a
shit.
couple of years ago. So I was like doing podcast interviews and shit, and I like was filming. Now I guess I was fairly lucky that I was quite good at filming. And when I started doing it, right time, right place. No one else was really doing it. There was a guy he's actually a good friend of mine to this day, Guy Streeter. He was like probably the best filmer in Oz, but he was making DVDs. And in Australia, the thing was, you'd make a DVD and stick it to the front of a magazine, and you'd sell it like with the magazine.
Oh,
So
no
he was
shit.
doing that. He wasn't doing the internet shit. And I was just like, bro, YouTube's gonna be the fucking truth. And
You were
See-
already on top of the
yeah,
YouTube
like
shit.
all
Good
the
timing.
way, dude, all the way back then. And then I ended up filming for Motocross of Nations 2010. That was the first time I came to America, and that's why I linked up with Wes and the Verb crew.
Gotcha.
And then they were just like, fucking, this kid loves to party and films good and is a fun time, so let's keep it rolling. And I stayed in Australia for like 2 months. I lived at Walters' place, and we just
You
fucking-
mean
Ryan
America-
Walters?
Walters,
I love Walters,
yeah.
dude. He's a riot.
So I lived at his place for like 2 months. I never met him before, and then I literally lived with him for 2 months.
No shit.
Gypsy, you know. And then like the JDR team came over. I'd done some filming for them in Australia. They were coming to America. So I was like, I'll do a web series called Coming to America. And kind of like sold them on that project. That got me here. Then I got a visa, and I just kind of stayed here. And
No shit.
I was just fully doing the film thing. Like I shot like those Dream Ride films with Malcolm Stewart in Oz and Hawaii. Done a bunch of Red Bull stuff. Did some stuff for the National Guard, like Suzuki commercials. Like did a bunch of music shit. And then was doing that all the way up to 2018. And then fucking rug got pulled, and I was back in Oz, like literally hero to zero. And
Banned from America.
What was up with that? Because I kind of have heard some like stories on, because even just to take it back a little bit, I think a lot of people, like, you kind of came out of nowhere just on the podcast scene.
Yeah.
And
no one really had context, and I never really gave a fuck to tell anyone either. I was just like, let it run.
You just came out of nowhere and came out heavy, and you just like picked up traction so quick.
Yeah, but it sort of wasn't like that in a sense. Like it probably seemed like that on YouTube because it just took, like, I can show you our analytics. Like, we got a graph this long, and it's like that much of it was just flat, like nothing.
No shit.
Like I was trying, and I just didn't have it figured out. You know, like I didn't have my formula. Didn't have. It just takes a really long time to like really find like your brand, find your kind of deal. And then COVID was huge. The US studio was huge. Moto Spy really helped out. Like that, I think that there was like a point in 2020 where like all that work, and that's what they say, like compound interest, you know, like you just keep
started to finally
it starts to pay after
things
a while,
start to finally work out.
And that's what me and my mate Sam, who owns Fist, we always say, like, you're a 10-year overnight success. You know, and then you think about all the time that's
a good way to put it.
From 2010 to 2018, I was like, dude, I was filming with everyone. I mean, I was like, I'd go to James's house, like he'd call me and be like, hey man, I need you to come and film, and I'd fucking hop a flight straight to Florida, like stay with him. But Instagram wasn't crazy big then. I never really gave a fuck to promote myself in that sense. Like the right people, like everyone at Red Bull had my phone number, like the writers that, like, I didn't need to show that side of it. And then I think when the podcast shit come out, I'd love reading the comments of like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, that's what's funny.
And then I'd be like, I'd never reply. I'd never cared to say anything. I'd never really shared too much of my shit. It was almost fun for me to like
keep it a secret,
be that guy, you know?
Yeah, because that's kind of where I was taking that, as like, you know, again, like how you just explained, not that you came out of nowhere, because it's been a building process, but like for maybe some more casual moto fans, it seemed like you just came out of nowhere, and then people start to hear like, oh well, he used to film, and nowadays people are like, well, I've never fucking heard of him. I know all the moto filmers. I've never heard of this guy, you know? And but me being like in the film world, like that's what I do for a job. Like this ain't making me shit for money, so like I have to go film still to pay my bills. And I had always heard like, oh yeah, Jason's legit as fuck. Like he's worked with fucking Crane and Wes and like all these, you know, if you know type dudes. Like if you're working with Ryan Walters, he ain't working with just nobody. Like I've worked with Walt a little bit. Like he's a gnarly motherfucker.
He's
like
he's good at what he does.
He's a fucking
he's amazing.
Beast. Yeah.
Dude, how's this fucking Deegan video? Like that's a million views in a week. Like,
everything he does is just it's gold. Like
like his style is just fucking incredible.
I love it.
He's just able to do shit that is like nowadays I see shit and I'm like, I see how you did that. Like I still can't do that myself, but I know how you did it. And Walt is still just doing shit where I'm like, I have no fucking idea.
You'd have to go frame by frame by frame by frame by frame.
Like some of the shit, like does
he's
not
always
make
been
sense.
a wizard, man. Like he has always been a fucking wizard. Like he would just sleep all day, edit literally all night. Like I'd go to bed. Like I'm a very like boring person. Like I go to bed, I get 8 hours sleep every day. I wake up, I have breakfast. Like I'm fucking normal. And then I'd like wake up, and then he he would be fucking still editing, and then like we'd have an hour window where we'd overlap, and then he'd sleep all day. So just every fucking night, just cranking out the dopest shit.
Yeah, he has a crazy schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very
He
different.
He makes it work.
Yeah.
He does.
So, what? Speaking about Deegan, I just recently posted a clip a couple days ago, just kind of talking about all the crazy. I mean, he gets a lot of hate on Instagram. Now at the races, it is a lot different. I'm sure there's almost no hate and
Zero.
all positivity.
Literally zero.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, he does see a good amount of it.
Well, I
right?
don't even think he has Instagram on his phone.
Does
Like,
Brian run it?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that he doesn't even have Instagram.
I don't know. I know he didn't used to, but there was a kid that posted his bike quitting and him like getting off and kicking it.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
solid
And-
dismount.
Yeah.
And he commented on it and put rage quit with like a funny emoji. And then I seen it was deleted.
Okay.
So I think he does
Yeah,
have it.
maybe he does.
Maybe-
Yeah, that kid does not give a fuck though.
No.
Like,
No.
Good luck.
He's
He's savage.
Comment that would rack that. Like,
Yeah,
rattle
and-
that
He's a Andrew Tate Jr.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, like, I know there's a lot of people that just hate on the shit that he's doing. Like, even just getting on the podium and like
I think it's awesome.
referencing Andrew Tate and
That was
David
fire.
Goggins. Like, I
Dude,
think
as a
that's fucking
guy
hilarious.
ever in a 10-second window push that many buttons
Right.
on a clip, you know,
Yeah.
like, dude, you get such a short amount of time on NBC to like say some shit, and he just went ding,
Nailed
ding,
it.
ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
just ticked every
Yeah.
box, dropped the mic, walked off.
That's
like,
exactly
at
what I thought.
17, bro, like fuck. And I'm Team Australia, like all day,
Yeah.
every day.
That's
And,
what I
like,
was gonna ask
I've got
next.
the most free pass in the world to just ride Jet and Hunter into the sunset. And
Yep.
it's like one of my greatest joys in life is looking at all the clips of me saying how fucking good Jet and Hunter were and having everyone tell me how overhyped he was. Actually, same for Hayden. Be like, oh, you fucking hyping these kids up.
The Jet one is definitely funny because
Mate,
you've
Nostradamus,
hyped.
bro.
I don't know if anyone
I
expected
knew-
Jet to be that.
I did.
You-
I did.
you
and I
Yes,
didn't
for sure, but I'm
I
just
didn't expect
undefeated.
I knew it.
Right.
Like, well, the undefeated.
That's
thing,
what I mean.
Yeah.
But I knew he was going to be the next greatest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've seen
no one
him-
believed me either.
Dude, I've seen him on a 65 lap the entire field in 5 laps. Who the fuck does that? You know, like that's just not normal at that age, you know? So like I've known forever. Everyone in Australia knew that Jet was going to be the one, you know?
So what do you think happens next year? Eli's back. Chase, I would assume is
Switch to
going to be
KTM.
on a new bike.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all know what that is.
Yeah.
Dylan just fucking gave it away.
Everyone knows.
I think
Uh,
Everyone
at this
knows.
point, yeah.
Same with
Yeah.
Cooper on Star. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cooper on Star. Like, what do you think happens? Like, do you think?
Well, I mean, I just think Supercross is a gnarly sport. You know, I think it's a lot easier to win outdoors consistently than it is to win Supercross consistently. Just with like, I talked about it with Ricky and RV. It's like just purely think about like the square footage of a motocross track, and there's 40 dudes on it.
Right.
Then think about the square footage of a Supercross track with 20 dudes on it. You're into lappers in 8 laps.
Just
like,
so much more. That's,
yeah, there's just so many variables that go into that sport. But I think he'll be as good on a 450 indoors as he is outdoors. I don't think he'll win every race. I definitely think that Eli's going to be amazing as he always is. I'm sure Coop's going to be really good. Bosch, it'll be next year will probably be the best Supercross season of all time.
Yeah,
and
I
we're
think
saying
so.
that coming off this year, which was just ridiculous. But and then I think Hayden's going to be unreal in the 250 class, and I just think that we've just been percolating like this rivalry between Hunter and Hayden, and then Jet's been kind of left out of the picture because he was like already in the 450 class, and so I think as far as the sport goes and storylines and rivalries, because rivalries are built. The sport is built on rivalries. You know, like with
Absolutely.
UFC fans, like that's what people love about that sport. Like when I lived here, Jay, the dude that owned JDR, he's like one of my best mates to this day. His mum and dad would stay with us, and they're like, I would watch UFC I've been watching for like probably 20 years, and they'd be like, "Oh, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off." So I couldn't watch the fights, but I could watch the countdowns. Like they were like okay with that. They could stomach it, but they didn't want to watch the fights. Well, guess what? After a few countdowns, like, oh, who is this George St. Pierre guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this Diaz guy. And this is like a 50-year-old woman that's like buying into
just
the
between the
people. It's not-
commentators talking about him and
It's intriguing.
and Nate Diaz fucking you know,
Fuck you, motherfuckers.
yeah. I 100% people start buying into it really quick.
And then she's like, oh, when is that fight? I actually would like to watch that, you know. And I think that Supercross kind of doesn't have that, you know, and it's just been in a box, especially the last, you know, maybe it started kind of like around Ricky's era because he took it crazy serious. He was getting big money, didn't give a fuck about, you know, the sport side of things. It was like, I'm here to do a job, and he did that job to the, you know, to the nines. So I just think over time the sport has evolved. Now you've got like this internet media, like everyone can kind of have an opinion. Like you can cast such a wide net because of like the way that you can do media, the way that stories and stuff can be told. So I think we're just in for like a crazy, like it's an awesome time for guys like us to be in the sport, you know.
Definitely. I think I've grown to really, really like Cooper Webb and appreciate Cooper Webb because of all the fucking stories I've heard about him just like sitting down on the line and looking at Tomac and being like, you better be ready for a battle, motherfucker. Like,
Yeah,
who
that shit's
does
sick.
that?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nobody else does that. And
He's always been mind games.
but that's like, and that's why I get so jazzed about Hayden hopping up there and saying the shit he did on the podium, and David Ronaldo at X Games fucking
Yeah, that was dope too.
saying his shit. Like, I get so jazzed on that type of shit because that's the only thing this sport's really lacking.
I completely
is
agree.
that entertainment factor that the UFC has.
Well, and I think, but people are scared. Like KTM's scared, MX Sports is scared, Feld is scared. Like no one wants bad press. We don't. Let's keep it clean. And it's just like, I feel like in this day and age, just you control your own narrative, you know, and it's like any publicity is good publicity.
Yep.
And like, people just love, as long as people can keep it in check. Like, I don't like when people take it really personally. Like the whole Hayden Deegan was too American on the thing. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. Like, I'm Australian, not offended.
Right.
You know? And it's like, I was at Washougal handing fucking Jet an Aussie flag. Motherfucker's shirtless with it wrapped around his neck. I'm just like, gangster. Like,
Gangster
we're
as fuck.
fucking here. I know what it took for that family to get here. Like, he's as Aussie as it gets. Like, they're a legitimate fucking badass Aussie family. He's proud. We're all super proud of him.
Right.
And it's like, so I'm wearing that. But hey, we're in America. This is American country, and Deegan doesn't want that. Like, he wants an American flag on the podium, and good, so he should, you know.
But from an entertainment factor, I fucking love that.
Dude,
I
it's
love
awesome.
that Jet's ripping his shirt off, fucking grabbing his flag and backing his country in front of an American
As he should.
crowd.
Yeah.
As he should, right.
Yeah.
And you know what? There ain't a single motherfucker in the crowd that's saying, "Oh, fuck Australia."
Yeah, no
boo."
one's booing him.
No.
Nobody gives a fuck.
no.
Everybody's fucking hyped
Yeah.
that he's just up there fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that
he's
is a
living
sports
the best
thing.
life. Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
Doesn't
that's
get better than that.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
always
when-
been a sports thing, to represent your country.
And when Deegan fucking beats Hunter, guess what? We just got to fucking take it. Like, the American
Right.
one on home soil. Like, dude, him winning 4th of July, like, that's the
most American
I got,
thing
like,
ever.
Goosebumps, dude. Just thinking, like, seeing him waving that flag, his first overall win. Like, he was so pumped, bro. So pumped. And I was so insanely happy for him. Like, it's a real bummer, like, when Hunter's an actual personal friend of mine. But I mean, the Deegan family is as well.
Yeah,
But
you're
it's
in a
like-
weird deal because you've gotten yourself to a point where you're like
Close with
pretty
everybody.
good friends with most of these fools that are like,
Yeah, but I just got that
battling.
default Aussie card,
Right.
though, you know? So, like,
that's
that's not my
true.
get out of jail free card. It's like, hey, Hayden, want the best for you, bro.
But
I'm
these are
Australian.
my boys.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
Yeah.
Aussie.
hear the accent?
Yeah. But, you know, like, that was a hard day to watch Hunter lose like, he lost the race, he fucking DNF'd, no, he crashed out of that one in the first turn. but it's like, I'm so happy for that kid. Like, he got his moment, and what a fucking iconic moment. Like, that kid's going to be a part of motocross history forever. And we're going to look back at that race and those pictures. Like, that's special to do what he did. Also, then on the 450 class, I think it's just as special that Jet walks into the most American fucking track of all time and just dominates. And then on the 4th of July, a 20-year-old Aussie is the baddest dude in the world.
And no one booed him.
You know, and it's like, it's so cool that both ways it's cool. And I'm literally here for all of it. You know, it's like, it's when you can't objectively look at the situation and be like, wow, that's fucking rad. Like, look at it from 30,000 feet. And you're like, oh, fucking, that's fucked. Or, you know.
I thought it was the lamest shit ever when I heard that. Like, how are you going to be such a fucking boomer that you can't just get past the fact that, like, this is good for the sport. This is bringing eyes to it. Like we just talked about. It's building a rivalry. I guarantee those two still can ride up to each other. And good luck, brother. Hope you're safe.
Yeah.
Like,
but as far as that goes too, like, I'm also fucking pretty stoked that Steve had the opinion that he did. Do I agree with it? Not really.
Yeah.
But also, like, it got everybody talking, and it was just talking for the. And so it's like, I mean, there's been times where. Not like I've just said shit for the hell of it, but I'm like, I know people are going to react to this. I want people to react to this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily want everyone to like me.
right.
You know, I'm fine with people thinking.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that I don't need to like me.
Yeah, I'm fine with people thinking I'm a kook. Like, it's good.
You need that.
You need both sides of the equation. Otherwise, like,
They're still going to watch. They're
100%.
They're going to watch every one of your videos because they're like, fuck this fucking idiot.
Yeah,
But
and
they're watching to the end.
The haters
hey,
become the fans.
But they don't. They also, like, I'm bummed if people think I'm a dickhead that know me. Like, if you actually know me and you think I'm a dickhead, that's going to bum me out.
100%.
Like, I'll take notice of that. But if you literally don't know me and you just watch an 8-minute YouTube clip, you like have what? Like, you can't make an opinion on me.
Yeah.
That's even remotely close to the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
That's a
just
great
like,
way to put it.
So I'm just like, well, okay, bro. Like, there's other shit you can watch, you know. So, but yeah, to go back to that, it's like, I'm even glad Steve said what he said. Like, it's good. People reacted. It got a conversation going, and it's a legitimate conversation to be had. Like, is it over the top? Is he doing it just to divide people? No, I don't. I personally don't think that's the case. I'm all for it. I don't think. I mean, dude, he got himself way back into the chase. Like, obviously, Hunter had a DNF. Then he had that first turn crash. Like, crazy how the moto gods can level shit out. But it's like that kid, whether it was the trash talk, whether it was the all-out speed, whether it was, you know, he got himself back into the championship. He talked his shit. And it's like, fucking Conor McGregor. I talk, but I back that shit up. Well, at what point has Hayden not backed up what he said?
100%. He's done just about everything that everybody said that he couldn't do.
Yeah, oh, dude, 100%.
When he finally made the call, or his team made the call for him, or they announced that he was going to race pro class, I remember reading so many comments of people just being like, he's not ready. He's going to get fucking smoked. He's going to get walked on. This is how you ruin his career.
Yeah.
Don't think that's the case in this.
The moto that did it for me was Minio's last year. I watched it was like maybe the only amateur race I'd ever watched from start to finish. And he either went down or like was last off the start, basically.
I think
and
I
it was
remember
like
that, yeah.
almost dark. And this motherfucker charged through the best A-class riders in the country and just buried these dudes. Like, hammer down, buried these dudes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, fuck. That's as real as it gets. You know, just off a super mini.
The kid really does. He's got a fucking dog in him that I think most professional athletes have, but I think his is to another level.
Yeah, he's got another level for sure.
Kind of reminds me of a little Cooper Webb in a way.
Yeah.
Like a younger Coop, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
that shark.
Yeah. No, he's as legit as it gets. He's like a special athlete in that sense, I think. And then you add the fact that he comes from money. Actually, that's another thing too. That like when people say he comes from money and his dad Can someone just please Google John Tomac?
I know. Or
Like-
how many other...
He has a fucking bike company, Tomac Bicycles. He won every downhill and cross-country championship all through the 90s. He's one of the most famous mountain bikers of all time. That industry's probably bigger than that industry would be bigger than the moto industry.
Yeah.
And we're worried that Hayden Deegan grew up with everything. Shut the fuck up. There's that many kids to get to that level. You've come from money. And how many kids from money don't do shit with their life? How many kids from money piss it against the wall? So it's like, to me, it's almost more impressive when you've got a kid with not just the money, like the pressure of your dad being Brian fucking Deegan in California. Like, you grow up, he invented a subculture.
Right.
You know, so it's just like, and you've got a kid that can do what he's done in spite of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost gnarlier than coming from nothing. Because when you come from nothing, you've got nothing to lose.
Yep, I agree. That's a very, very good point. Like, I'm fully on the page that if you're brought up with money and you have everything and nothing's really like a struggle.
We know those dudes. Everyone does.
Conor McGregor's a perfect example. Look at his come up when he was hungry. Motherfucker was unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like, calling out shit that he said he was going to do, then everybody's like, yeah, okay, buddy. And he's like, no, you fucking wait. Like, when you're hungry, it's a totally different mindset than when you're not.
Yeah.
When you're chilling and you have a whole bunch of money and you know that, like, I don't really have to go train today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to win the race this weekend. I don't have to win this championship this year because I'm all good.
Yeah.
I've got money.
Yeah.
When it's like comfortable like that, I can't assume you're going to be at your best ever.
Yeah.
So exactly, like, being brought up in money, being, again, Brian Deegan's son, like, if you aren't not doing what he's doing, but if you aren't successful to a point, you're everybody's definitely like, well, fucking the kid's got everything and he still sucks, you know? Like, the only thing is like, he definitely has the advantage on, like, resources, equipment.
Yeah, but only to a point, like, because there's tons of other kids that are on the line that have, you know, they probably are in, there's probably like a point of diminishing returns, right? Like, there's probably some kids out there on the line. I mean, I don't know the amateur scene that well, but it's like the dad owns like fucking 50 car dealership. Well, dude, okay, Kyle Peters, his dad owned like a bunch of fucking car dealerships, was like pretty well off and lived at MTF, like, but no one really knows that his dad's got money, so then there's no pressure. No one knows who his dad is. So that's probably the sweet spot. Like, the sweet spot is to probably have a rich dad that no one fucking knows about, and they can only tell that you have money because of the motorhome that you pull up in or whatever. But it's like, dude, how many kids are rolling around in $500,000 motorhomes with, like, so, I mean, yeah, I just think the argument to me, like, I just don't see a world where that kid has had it easier than other people, because it's like, it's almost harder. And like, I know, well, so like Mick Doohan and Jack Doohan. So Mick Doohan, 5-time world champion, 500-seat dude's one of the fucking baddest dudes ever on two wheels. His kid was like, fuck that, I ain't doing two wheels, I'm going four-wheel rate. Like, I'm not even going to try and fuck with that, because like, I could never be that guy, you know? Like, so many kids that come from those sorts of successful families will just steer away from like whatever their dad did. So I just think it's impressive on so many levels what Hayden does.
Yeah, I'm excited for his future. I'm super excited for when he does get on a 450, because he posts clips every now and then of him.
He rips on it. Yeah.
He looks
He's
so
still a
fucking
kid.
good.
He's still a kid. He's going to be a beast. And guess what? Jet's still a kid too. So it's fucking gnarly.
No, next year I think Deegan will definitely be the championship contender in Supercross and probably outdoor.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so too. How long do you think Eli has? Do you think he's got?
I reckon he'll just do next year.
Yeah.
Supercross and outdoor, or just Supercross?
I think it is only Supercross.
Yeah.
So I think that's
It's Supercross only with the option to. race outdoors.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know.
I think I think he kind of just wants to prove to himself, like, hey, I still got it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, and I'm done.
Well,
He just doesn't want to go out
I think these guys realize too nowadays that like once it's over, you know. And like you see Dunge want to come back, and you see guys that they retire, and it's like this is all you've ever done, and it's like yeah, you've got money, you can chill now, but it's like all right, well, what am I just gonna fucking do nothing for the rest of my days? So I think that these guys have a bit of an appreciation, like well, if I can do it, I probably should, because there'll be a time where I won't be able to do this anymore, you know?
Yeah. For you, obviously, you know, you being super close with Jet and Hunter, that's probably going to be your answer. But who's been like some of the coolest dudes for you to work with? Like in your experience, who have you worked with and been like, fuck,
man,
that dude's so sick?
Dude, I'm honestly very lucky. Like no one tells me who to get on, who to work with. Like everyone's pretty cool that comes on. So I think like I don't know, Deegan was sick. Like when I got to do the pod with Brian, he wanted to do it. Like he like asked to do it, which was really
shit.
Yeah, which was like super fucking cool.
I mean, obviously being a Moto fan, that's probably one of the best podcasts I've ever watched. Like I've watched that multiple times.
Yeah, I think it was just sick. Like I was so,
and he has so much insight, and like how much you got out of him was crazy. Like I've met Brian. He's
pretty cagey.
Yeah, he's not a huge talker unless you're in like you're either really close with him or in like that.
And we'd
type
like
of setting.
never met. Well, we'd met before, but I'd met him as like a filmer with fucking Josh Hansen one day. Like,
well, and it was so funny because you can almost kind of sense that a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah,
like you're both just kind of like feeling each other out. Fucking 30 minutes into it, you're just flowing. You got him laughing his ass off and shit, which I've never heard Brian Deegan laugh like that. Like,
yeah, that was definitely like a cool moment where I was like, oh man, this is pretty sick, you know. And it was just funny too, like because the clip with the Travis, like Brian Deegan was a real sellout. Like that was the first video we did that got like 1 million views, and that's the first one that he saw, like, and that's where we really figured out our formula and like, you know, what we kind of
what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. So it was just cool, like how that came about. But yeah, like doing the pod with Trap, like just honestly, like I just feel very lucky to do,
because you've done like a lot of really sick people.
Yeah, everyone's just fucking pretty cool. So I feel very like privileged to be able to do what I do, for sure.
Do you have like what's the, I don't know the right word for it, like goals for guests that would be like super epic for you?
Yeah, there's definitely, that's what being over here, I mean, there's a ton of people that I could have got on that I wanted to wait to sort of do it in person. It's like what you were saying before about Moto as the base. Like I think that's what I figured out pretty quick. Like once we sort of started doing well, that I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of what I need to do. Like, and I really wanted to build some like stability in the business and know that I had a check coming every month, and multiple checks coming. I could pay my staff, I could live, I could, you know, it was like a sustainable business. And yeah, I think now I'm sort of going to try and like branch out a little bit more. I think that's one of the things I probably didn't realize when I started the podcast, was just how many gnarly motherfuckers like Supercross, you know? So there's just F1, MotoGP, like fucking singers, musicians, movie stars. Like there's a crazy list of people that froth what we do, and, you know, watch the podcast and listen. So it's like, for me, the next step would be trying to like bring those people into the fold. And, you know, like I love bikes. I love what, you know, I'm kind of like living my best life through the podcast, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I've talked to the people I want. I love trying to contribute to the sport. I love the fact that we've helped like the YouTube space in our sport like lift up a little bit. So it's like, now what's like the next thing I could do? Because it's like, if I help the sport do well, I'll do well out of it. You know what I mean?
And you've like opened up a massive door, I feel like, even for people like us. Like
I think there's a bit of a new market there now.
Yeah, like you know, I think some people would see it as like competition. I see it as like the complete opposite. I see it as like, if it wasn't for you, it'd be way harder for us to do what we're doing because there's no market for it.
Yeah,
like you like opened up the market for moto people wanting to listen or watch a podcast.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, there was like so DMXS, obviously, they were like the OGs, and then Steve's been at it forever. But it's like, I love DMXS, but you know, like the racing every like the Monday morning re-raceables.
I can't do it.
Yeah, like, but it's just not. That's not the type of content that I wanted to listen to. You know, so for me, I was like, what do I want? I listen to Joe Rogan. That's the shit I like. There's no one doing that in moto, so like I'm gonna make content that I would want to watch. Like, unfortunately, like I don't have anything that I really like watching, but it's like I get to do, you know, I get my fill by like being in it, like I guess real time.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see the way that everyone now is doing titles and thumbnails and clips, and you know, like I think it's good, like a rising tide floats all boats, you know what I mean? And there's just like, I can't do everybody, like I can't interview every single person.
Right.
Schedules are gnarly. Like if you guys get on fucking rad people, and there's other good, like that's good, because I can't do everyone. I don't want to do everyone. Like I'm like you said, I'm traveling, I'm fucking doing all my other shit. So it's like, I think it's really good that there's people,
and that's
like
what I always
coming up, you know.
I always try to like, it might not be the best thing, but like I'm always telling other people like, you should start a podcast. Like we did Christian Craig.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I was like, dude, you're like really good.
He's
like,
awesome, eh?
You're a fucking awesome
sick.
talker, especially for like most moto dudes aren't usually the best conversators, right? So like I was telling him afterwards, I was like, dude, you should start a podcast. Like it's something for you to do after your career. Like you're a good talker. You could fucking have some awesome guests on. You have
And just
great
like good
insight.
He's like in it right now.
Right.
Like he's one of the dudes.
Right. And not a lot of people get to hear firsthand from somebody like him. And I'm not saying that he like went and started his podcast because I told him.
Yeah,
but
no, but he did start one, kind of, right?
Yeah, he did.
To talk about his injuries going through and stuff. I love that. People, even Cincerillo, same thing. Like we need more of that.
Right.
Because like I said, no one knows anything about any of these racers. Like they're just racers. No one knows their life, their day to day. So like Cincerillo, love listening to him talk, but it's bringing light to, you know, we're humans. We have lives. We do things, not just ride dirt bikes.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. It's definitely cool to see like a new wave of like media and like come through over the last few years for sure.
It's heavy nowadays. You went to Loretta's?
Yeah, dude.
How was that?
Fucking loved it. It's like Woodstock. It's like going to a music festival, but instead of like watching fucking Slipknot, you're seeing the 50+ class with Mike Brown and Jeff Emig, and then you're like, all right, that's done. I'm going back to the creek and I'm going to crush some beer. Fucking then like the beer tent at night, and there was just so many cool people too. Like, you know, I got to see, because I haven't been here in 5 years. So
how was that for you? Like the people had to have been kind of tripping, right?
It was fucking cool. Yeah, it was really cool to, you know, obviously meet a bunch of people that listen, meet a bunch of old friends. Like I hadn't seen K-Dub. Literally the last time I seen K-Dub, I was fucking drinking at his place in Tennessee. Like probably not Tennessee, fucking Louisiana. Is it Louisiana? Yeah, so he's there, so I'm like drinking at his place, and you know, like I hadn't seen Malcolm in years. And, you know, just sort of seeing all old friends. And like, I hadn't seen Wes in 5 years. He's like one of my best friends ever.
Yeah.
So, it was fucking
that
cool.
is
And
cool.
I was just in it too, bro. I was like, you know what? I bought some Crocs before it. And I was like, I'm just going to fucking wear Crocs and board shorts and drink beers the entire time
And
I'm there. And just fucking live it. I was there
That's
for
awesome.
every single moto
Be
practice.
festive as fuck.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
sick. I loved it.
Did you do you drink or party or anything?
I don't really drink. No.
No.
I only have one kidney. I did drink in Loretta's, so I guess I do drink. But yeah, dude, I couldn't even remember the last time I was like properly drunk.
Yeah.
I got married in May, and I drove home from my wedding.
No shit.
Yeah, me and my wife, we both probably had 2 drinks each. And she doesn't really drink either.
Yeah.
We had like 2 drinks each, and then we went back to our apartment that we had for the weekend. And we like made a cup of tea and like opened our fucking wedding cards and shit.
Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to go. Usually you're supposed to be pretty cooked when you get back.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound bad though. I like it.
Dude, and we laughed. We were like, fuck yeah. Like, and the whole, like, just the whole wedding in general was like very us, you know, like we just didn't do any of the shit we didn't want to do.
Right.
And Yeah, we were sitting there laughing, and we were like, "Fuck yeah, this is very us right now." You know,
Yeah.
like we're getting our 8 hours sleep. We're fucking, we'll get up in the morning, have a good brekkie.
Yeah, fuck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So it was, but yeah, so I pretty healthy,
Gotcha.
pretty healthy.
Do you eat
And
good and all that shit?
Yeah, like so my wife's an awesome cook. So like she literally will cook 3 meals a day. We'll eat super clean. Train, like she does jiu-jitsu as well. So like I'll do jiu-jitsu when like literally whenever she is going to her class, and yeah, like I love my sleep and love my routine. I'm riding a bunch too, like because we're doing well vets at the end of the year.
Yeah, I've heard you talking about it.
Yeah. So I'm like pumped. I'm not real good at riding, but I'm gonna.
What class are you gonna do?
Probably like 35 B class, or like
Gotcha.
intermediate.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I'm just.
that's an awesome race.
Where is that at this year?
Glen Helen.
Glen Helen.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah.
World Vets.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of the Vet Designations thing.
No, I was so close to going to that, but I just had to. I was supposed to be in MotoGP this weekend as well, and I'm just like, nah, I'm fucking done. It's too much.
Yeah. How long are you here for?
Well, probably till maybe about November. I think I'll maybe stay till.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So hopefully, like,
Maybe Day in the Dirt. That's at the end of November, but
probably
Thanksgiving weekend, right?
yeah, that's what I'm hoping to be back for.
that'd be sick. Yeah, I did 2010. I did it with Roxon and his mechanic.
No
And,
way.
Yeah, he was so young, dude. It was fucking crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah, thinking about it. But,
That is hilarious.
Yeah, dude. So that was the only time. Then we did one in Australia, which was fucking crazy. Like, I was proper drunk that
Yeah.
night. Like, that was a big night.
I really wish they would do that again.
What's that? The
The
Day in the Dirt.
Down Under.
Oh yeah, it was so gnarly, bro. Like, it was full on.
Like I think I would make sure I have a pretty good deal with Fast House too, so I'm between them and whatever I had to throw in to make it happen. I would definitely try to make sure I made it.
It's loose.
Isn't that where Behrman got hurt?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so that was one of the loosest weekends of my life. Like,
Yeah.
it was full on.
I've heard a
So-
lot of people say that.
Yeah, okay. So you heard it was
Yeah.
like dude walking around with a fucking halo on his neck, just like trying to fight people. Like him and the dude with one leg were fighting at one point, and everyone was
No
like,
way.
yeah, everyone was fucking loose. And there was parties everywhere, like legit.
That sounds
parties
fucking awesome.
That sounds pretty. That's my vibe right
Dude,
there.
it was
Yeah.
it was like Day in the Dirt here, but with a ton of bogans doing like everyone had their
Honestly,
bikes
it
on
just
the back of
sounds
their
like-
utes, like doing burnouts on the back of their fucking trucks. Like it was a
Yeah, this honestly just sounds like Day in the Dirt in Australia.
Yeah.
it was
It's
it
yeah.
was- yeah. So they like wouldn't do the event again. They were like, no, it was
Too much.
They were like, this was way too much, dude. Like the cops, there were guys roosting cops' cars, like fucking
That's
just.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't
and-
you want to have that again?
Oh well, I just don't think
Damages cost a lot.
Yeah, the venue's
the
probably-
track, the venue is not pumped, and
Yeah.
like it was crazy because there was no cell service, so it was just like
Perfect.
a fucking free for all. And then it rained gnarly, so the place just got and it's like, you know, when it just something goes to shit.
Oh, yeah.
and you're like, fuck it, we're here now.
Yeah.
Like
We're in
that
it.
was almost Loretta's this year. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
you know what, fucking Crocs, let's go. Like
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. And a Day in the Dirt was that times like a million in Australia. And as soon as it started raining, everyone was like, fuck the race, let's send it.
Let's
Like,
party.
Yeah, there were like bands playing and DJ sets. and,
That's
like,
fucking
it was
awesome.
It was so sick.
Have you been to Zorte Cross?
No, but it looks.
I heard
a
it's
lot
kind of like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
What is
do
that?
they still do that?
I don't know.
I think
know
it's-
Berriman was doing it.
Is it in Netherlands?
Yeah, Netherlands. Yeah,
But it's just
Euros are crazy, bro.
yeah.
Yeah,
Have you guys been to Europe?
I haven't.
I've been to Germany and Netherlands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's pretty
fuck over
loose.
there.
Did you?
The partying is nuts, dude. Like in Germany at the bars, people are just smashing glasses on the floor and like it's rowdy.
Was
Yeah.
either
Not
one for racing?
huh?
Was either one for?
They were
racing?
both for racing, yeah.
Oh, no
but like
shit.
the after parties, the bars we went to, like the people,
Dude, the
it's a different
chicks in
crowd.
Europe are
That's what I was just gonna say. Where
gnarly.
the where the foreign chicks?
I can't talk too much on this, but
Come on,
Just-
your girlfriend's not gonna watch.
nah,
this.
it's chill. No, but no, it was just a good time. But they are rowdy for sure.
What a pussy.
That's
Nah,
it.
dude.
That's all I got. I don't remember half the time I was there. I was wasted.
There was a day that you would have gave us all the good juice, and you'd have been proud of it.
Well, the
Now-
red light district was pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
Went through that a
It's
couple
a good time over there. The fucking chicks are gnarly. They don't speak much English. They yell at
and
you.
they're just jazz.
And they can drink.
riders.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
They can drink.
Yeah, and they're fucking hot too. Like my
Yeah.
brother just he's in Austria for MotoGP right now, and he literally goes, man, haven't even left the airport, and I'm reminded how fucking hot Euro chicks are. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Why do you think my wife's Russian? Like, they're just on a
Yeah.
different level, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm glad that I don't have to do any work in Russia or any cool
Yeah, just keep in the U.S.
Yeah. Just,
any
just
any
stay-
cool.
I don't even want to go to
foreign
Oz.
Yeah,
it's good
yeah.
there too.
Dude, oh,
I need
man.
to definitely stay out of Australia.
Yeah,
Gold Coast, where I was living,
I'm gonna go there soon. Let's visit
Bro.
Jo.
it is actually hectic. Like, pound for pound, best pussy in the world, I reckon. Like,
Yeah.
in the Gold Coast. In the Gold Coast right now, it's retarded. Like,
Undefeated.
there's probably the ratio is like 6-1 of girls to guys.
That's
right?
so rare.
Every time I see like one of my Australian buddies post something from like a function.
Just follow Harry Bink's Instagram account.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
all
God,
you need-
Bink,
that's all
dude.
you need to know.
Yeah. Every time I see any of those fools post, it's like all blonde chicks.
Yeah. Yeah, they all
Everyone
look the
has a
same, they
fake
all
set
wear
of
the
tits.
same.
Yeah.
They're like, you get up in the morning, and so I lived, I lived like 400 meters from the beach. You get up in the morning, you go get a coffee, and there's just like 10, 10, 10, 10, and
12.
they're all just in like active wear. It's like cold, it's winter, and they just don't care. That's the uniform. The dudes are
Cold-blooded.
running with no shirts on.
Where the
All
fuck do they
dudes
come
are
from?
fucking hot.
Heaven.
The chicks are hot. Every chick that's hot in Australia is just like migrating to the Gold Coast right now. It's fucking
Oh,
absurd.
Gold Coast
I
is
don't
the
get
spot,
it.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
I need to go. I
kinda-
need to go visit Jo.
Kind of thinking I need to take a trip to the Gold.
Dude, how hot's JoJo's missus? man?
Yeah, I know.
Example,
Hey,
right?
they were just
I know.
here.
She's cool as fuck,
They-
dude.
oh, dude,
I know, I
Beth's
know.
sick, but
I
yeah,
don't
they
want
were.
to say that. Like, sorry, Jo, but
Nah, he
No,
knows.
yeah,
He knows it. He
yeah,
knows
he's
it. Come
pretty-
on,
she's a
dude.
great. She's a great.
look
chick.
at him.
JoJo's the fucking
Look at
man,
him,
bro.
dude.
Right, and I was just gonna
Stud.
say it, like. No homo,
math
but
maths.
dude, he's like he's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
He's huge and he's got tattoos and he does triple backflips.
It'd be
like-
disrespectful to say his missus isn't hot.
I
That is
completely-
true.
I
Yeah,
completely
Like he'd be
agree.
pissed.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
my phone's
he-
ringing.
That's a good point.
He's a fucking cool dude.
I love him,
coolest.
dude.
Like,
He's
off the mic, off the like we'd go ride like motocross with him, and you just sit back and listen. Like, he just has the best fucking stories.
dude.
He's the man, dude.
Yeah, and like Bilko and all those dudes put him through hell, like as a Grom.
Yeah,
so
as
he's
a
got
Grom.
like
Oh,
the
yeah.
best stories and like
Well, I think that's one of the things in Oz. That's one of the best things I love about Australian culture, is that like we say leave your feelings at the gate. Like when you rock up to like we just went to Jack Miller's. He built a sick track at his place and he invited all the boys to come and ride, and it's just like ruthless. The
Yeah.
whole time we're just fucking shredding each other, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you'd be around and people are like, man, do you fucking guys even like each other?
Yeah.
I love those cunts. Like,
Yeah.
they are the
like
best.
that's the best energy.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's
and
when
I
you know
think
you like someone. You
it's
talk
like a
shit.
very uniquely Australian thing, like the way that we can absolutely roast each other.
Yeah.
And that's like all love, you know?
I love
And
it.
There's something about I've never met an Aussie that I didn't like.
I have.
I'm sure you. I'm sure you have. I'm sure
Yeah,
they're.
they're
I'm
around.
sure they're.
Well,
out
being
there.
from there, it's like saying an American. I don't like.
Yeah, but like
I don't like a
for
lot of
Nah,
people.
whatever-
Aussies are pretty cool.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason, like probably just out of the moto scene, because I don't think I know any Aussies that are not in the moto world, but just like all the ones that everybody knows, Maddo, Bang,
Yeah.
fucking Jacko,
Yeah.
like everyone is just, they're like the nicest, most respectful, coolest, most genuine dudes.
Yeah, I just think a lot of those guys, like, they just don't really come from much, you know. Like,
Right.
it's just been
Yeah.
been a grind. You're so far away. You're so stoked. Like, the things that probably piss you guys off over here, we're just like, no, it's fucking cool, you know.
No
like,
shit, no
yeah,
problem.
we're just kind of cruising because
Yeah.
it's like
You don't take anything personal.
a big deal just to get here and
It's
and,
pussified over here.
It's so bad.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just
Everyone's just so
everybody's soft.
Emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Like,
not my
even-
vibe.
I mean, I'm sure you'll see it, but like even just sort of being, and I'm sure you know, but I think it's probably worse nowadays. Like this area is just, I don't know. I love Southern California.
It's clicky.
But it's
Yeah.
yeah, like you can piss people off quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I just try to stay to myself, do my own thing.
Yeah.
Go training, eat good, sleep, fucking do my
Extra sleep.
Yeah, do my podcast and just cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try and be out of all the shit.
It's the best way to do it. Stay out of it.
We won't keep you too much longer. I think it's this weekend, right? I think 292 or 293, whatever. Sean O'Malley,
dude.
Aljamain
Is it Sean O'Malley?
Sterling.
I was so close.
Is that
to
this
going.
weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Is that in Vegas?
Nah, Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Oh,
If it
Square
was in
Garden.
Vegas, I would have gone for sure.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
Madison Square Garden?
Nah, that's New York.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. Oh,
yeah,
my bad.
Yeah. Aljo and Sugar.
Who do you think?
I'm a Sugar guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, since day one.
I'm gonna have to agree.
But what happens?
That's a hard fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you think he keeps him off? Like, I think if they keep it standing, Sugar's got obviously a really good chance.
Yeah.
But do you think he can keep him standing?
Yeah, I think best case scenario for me would be that you have Aljo he gets kind of sloppy on his shots sometimes, like when he's trying to take dudes down. Like you could see in the Cejudo fight Cejudo's like a Olympic champion wrestler, but
Even with like Peter Yan and like
yeah, but Peter Yan's an amazing wrestler
for sure.
You know, and he fucked Aljo up in that first fight until the knee,
that's
and it's like
true.
he just couldn't take Sean down or like be effective when he did, because dude, I don't know whether it was Tim put up the video or Sean put up the video on his Instagram the other day, but like you see that motherfucker hitting pads and like even just a teep kick, like, oh, the dude's just crispy and he's so accurate. He's got the best timing. So it's like he just starches motherfuckers. And I think the other thing too is that Aljo has a pretty big weight cut. Like he's
he
a
does.
pretty big dude. So like when you're cutting a lot of weight, it really affects your chin.
Yep.
So like the last person that you want to have any weakness on your chin is
somebody as
Sugar.
precise as Sean.
Dude, he's so fucking clean.
The
with
precision's on point.
but he has the best feints in the UFC, I think.
Yeah.
So like
He does like the basketball shit.
Oh, dude, you remember the when he knocked out Eddie Wineland?
Yep.
So
that one's so nasty.
he literally he faked an uppercut and then just went and just piped him, and it was like
the cleanest shot
so clean, but with the most perfect feint.
Yeah.
Like he sold it so fucking good,
and
just
it was so clean that like when he brought it back, he did like the like I don't even know how
Like
to
he
explain
knew.
it.
what
Like,
it's like when you just a nut one in golf and you just hit it and you just recoil the club back and you're like a bit of a club twirl. He did like the club twirl
Yeah, exactly.
just a walk off knockout.
like he knew he just hit it right on the button.
He could feel it. He's like, yep.
yeah.
That shit fucking.
Yeah, so
That shit
I
gives me
I'm
goosebumps.
I'm a big Sugar Sean fan, so I hope. I was actually supposed to be. I had tickets for Gaethje Poirier.
Ooh.
Yeah, but my friend he got like called up to do a race, so I couldn't do it with him.
What a crazy night of fights that
Oh,
was.
man.
it was a card, bro. It was such
Derek
a fucking,
Lewis just running in with the Masvidal knee.
I love Derek Lewis, dude.
How about when
He's so
like,
fire.
He's like, man, I've been trying that bullshit for 3 years. I'm finally glad it paid off. I was about to give up on that shit. I'm just like, fuck yes, bro.
He's the most
Always takes his shorts off.
classic dude ever.
Yeah, he's a G.
I feel like that UFC, he's probably one of their most marketable fighters because
sure,
of that.
dude. They
like
re-signed him for that, too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
about to go to the PFL to fight Francis Ngannou,
damn.
And-
I don't want to fight Francis.
and the UFC just
But
recently.
now Francis, I think, is fighting Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury,
But
yeah.
he's training with Mike Tyson, which is
Yeah,
pretty badass.
Which it's super
That's
cool.
legit. He's doing the right thing. But Tyson Fury for boxing is
Yeah, he's a motherfucker. That
he's
guy.
the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
There's
But-
a handful of really good fights coming up. Just because usually we, have guests that have no idea what's going on in the fight world. So, who do you got? This one's an interesting one. Aljamain, fucking Strickland and Izzy.
Izzy all day.
Yeah.
I think Izzy, but I kind of want Strickland.
his
Strickland comes from Corona.
That's
he used
one
to.
of his easiest fights of all. Like,
I would.
think so?
I would agree. I
fuck
think.
yes.
So
bro.
you're not on the Pereira train of Pereira reckons that it's going to be his hardest fight.
Nah,
No.
bro.
Pereira's training with him. He's got Sean in the gym.
Oh, of course he's training with
showing
him.
Sean all the
I
little
love
tricks.
Strickland. Like I
do
fucking
too.
Love,
Yeah.
but he's not beating Israel.
I don't think
Adesanya.
so
Like,
either.
I don't think many people have beaten Israel.
No,
Adesanya.
I think Pereira is probably
His
one
fight
of the
against
only
Pereira
ones.
was that second fight, that was one of the most incredible displays of sport.
Just mental fucking
bro.
mental
Dude.
strength.
The world stood still for a minute, dude. That was so gnarly. Like,
Dude, I can't remember where I was.
the arrow thing was.
Oh yeah,
Dude.
I was watching, but my wife, because she does jiu-jitsu, so she's like
That's
super into
sick.
the UFC stuff
That's
as well. So we were watching it, and like I fully fucking was screaming, and she literally, that was like the one time where she's like, "All right, that's a lot." Like I get it, but no, like this is too much.
Yeah, that one was one of my favorites because
There was so much riding on that.
He needed that.
So-
That was a make or break, I feel like, mentally
literally
for his career.
Career
Yeah,
ender.
100%.
And to sign up for that shit, gangster as fuck. And on the smallest level, like there was like 2 years or 3 years of me doing jiu-jitsu where I was doing every big competition, like no matter what it was, I was doing it. And the fucking stress and anxiety, and I mean, I had like a pretty good like win streak of like where I was winning. Didn't matter.
no shit.
Didn't matter how much I won. I was fucking so scared.
It wasn't like a confidence thing where you would like with every win you were going into the next one.
Well, I mean, to a point, but at the same time,
like, still
like, it just
still a
didn't,
fight in a sense.
Yeah, it just didn't matter. Like I was just so fucking scared every time to
No shit.
not like scared, but just crazy anxiety. Like there's just nothing that compares that I've done that's like putting yourself out there to. And again, this is on the small. This is like an Australian jiu-jitsu title that no one gives a fuck about. Like this is not the UFC in front of millions. So I have that lens to look through of like, I know how much anxiety I've got, and like you change as a person. Like that's why I stopped competing as much, because I was like, this is just a lot, like the person that you kind of turn into. And it's just like, even going through that week before, the 2 weeks before, like the anxiety that you would feel when you press the button to like register for a competition, and everyone's looking at you. It's not as like, I guess in that lane, like it doesn't matter. Like if you lose, literally no one gives a fuck. Like literally. But you know, you're putting yourself out there. Everyone's watching you. Everyone's expecting something from you. You've got all these people that have trained with you. Like you put in so much work with like your team to get to those events. They're fucking coaching you. They're cheering you on. And it's like, dude, it's the craziest pressure cooker. So like, that's at 1%. Like if there's a spectrum of me and Israel Adesanya, there's like, this is all the way on the left for me, and he's all the way on the right. So like for what I
and even just what you're saying is like making me
dude,
a little anxious.
imagine being that guy. Imagine being that fucking guy, signing on that dotted line, making that walk, getting locked in a cage with a dude that's knocked your fucking head off your shoulder.
Twice.
Only
before.
dude.
Twice.
Yeah, 3 times.
Was it 3? Oh, I think
in the UFC.
Twice in kickboxing, once in UFC.
Once, that's right.
But the only dude that's literally your kryptonite, and you sign the dotted line to fight that motherfucker again for all the marbles. And if you lose, you're done, bro.
Right.
There's nowhere to go.
From the middleweight, potentially greatest of all time, like being just
your
another,
legacy's on the line, like
everything.
Yeah,
so it's like all or nothing.
That to me that's why I love the UFC so much. Is, you know, once you've done anything remotely similar, you know, you can just look at that with like through a crazy lens and be like, fuck all that. Like fuck all that shit. You can have that.
And even like just as a casual, you've got to watch that, and you know, if you're brought up to date on the story behind it, like even as a total casual, you've got to just be like, that's pretty fucking crazy.
And then he nails it on every level. Like you said, the arrows, the speech at the end of it, the press conference. Like just how do you be that fucking good at, like across the board?
To even take it down to like the smallest detail of when he got knocked out in one of the kickboxing matches years ago.
Yeah.
His kid fucking walked out onto the canvas and like pretended to like get knocked out right next to Izzy, right after Izzy woke
his kid
up.
was like 7 or 8 or something like
Pereira's
that.
kid? Or
Yeah.
So this time when Izzy knocked him out, he fucking did his thing. He gets up, you see him. He's looking out in the crowd, finds Pereira's kid, and does the same exact thing to Pereira's like 13-year-old
Yeah,
kid.
he kept that receipt.
Dude,
Yeah.
petty motherfucker.
Grudge holder?
Yeah.
Petty.
He didn't forget.
But I love that shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm petty as fuck too. Like
yeah.
with shit like
Time
that,
and
like,
place,
sure,
baby.
bro. Like take your shot. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that shit.
Yeah, he
Fucking fuck
That's
around,
awesome.
Fuck around and find out, you little grom. You know.
I think he starts at Strickland. Strickland's a G, but I think he fucking.
I just don't think Strickland's quite there at that level.
Nah,
He's just below it.
He's too straight up and down.
Yeah, and it's just there's just levels to the game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
fucking Chase Sexton's one of the baddest dudes of ever to ride a dirt bike. He can't beat Jet Lawrence.
Right.
Just,
No.
There's his level.
And I feel like even like right now, obviously Chase's season, like, circling back to moto, but like I feel like a lot of it with Chase right now is mental. I truly believe that he has the speed to do it. It's just it's in his head right
Yeah,
now.
and there's just some guys that.
And
There's
it's-
just some guys too that it's just like he might just be 1% better, but 1% better for 30 minutes
all you need.
equals 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you
and
know.
I really do think that Jet's riding style is just such a
Perfect.
game changer. And now all the rest of his competition is starting to see like
Oh, even all the kids at Loretta's, man, you should have seen all the shit they were
The
doing.
bunny hopping the bumps and stuff.
jumping
Yeah.
arms
Yeah.
and all that sort of
it's
stuff.
he's truly evolving the sport, and you know I don't know if he's really going to be beatable until some kid.
Deegan 450 class.
Right.
38.
I don't know if anybody's going to get there until young Danger Dick.
Well, he do you think he'll have enough? He'll have enough points this year to career number, huh?
Who,
Next
Deegan?
year?
Probably.
Saying he'll
I
go
mean, I don't know.
38.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I don't know if he wants to do 38. Though.
No?
No. I don't know whether. I can't remember if we were talking about it or not. If it was him or if it was Brian. But yeah, I don't know whether he wants to do 38.
I think he'll have the
or-
points, though.
Or run his own, yeah.
He
Yeah.
definitely will. He almost won a points championship.
That's true.
He's gotta
Yeah,
have enough.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's pretty
But
sick.
all right, brother. Well, we fucking appreciate you coming on and spending
No,
some
Yeah,
time
thank
with
you.
us.
Yeah, no, it was cool.
Good
It's,
chat.
Nice to be on the other side of the mic for,
Right.
Yeah.
for a change. And I said like, ages ago you asked me to do it, so glad we're finally
Yeah,
getting to do
I
it.
appreciate. As I'm sure you know, this game is very tough on the getting guest side, and I've had a lot of people, and I don't hold it against them at all, but I've had a lot of people, of course, say yeah they're down, and it just never ends up happening.
Well, I mean,
and-
dude, there's been shows that take me like a year to get scheduled.
That's-
Sometimes
and that's
more,
what I've-
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even fucking McGrath, like he was supposed to be on the podcast like a long time ago. We still haven't done it. And
Right.
like
Yeah.
I cancelled on fucking Danny Pedrosa this week, you know, 'cause I
No
didn't want to
shit.
go. So it's like
Yeah.
there's just schedules like it's a fucking hard game.
Takes a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, so you just gotta, That's why when I said I'd do it ages ago, I'm like, well, yeah, I'll definitely do it.
We'll get
And
there
they always
eventually.
happen when it like
Yeah,
they always
and I'm-
end up working out
Yeah.
when they work
When
out.
it's
and
meant
I'm
to be,
glad
it's meant to be.
I'm
Yeah.
glad it worked out this way, where obviously when we were talking about it, we were trying to figure out how we could sort of do it your way, where we would do it with you in Australia and us here. So I'm glad that we got to do it this way.
is
And,
a lot
Oh,
easier.
this was money.
and I'm super stoked to hear about you being here, and I think you'll. Obviously you've made a successful path for yourself anyway, but I think you'll take it up another couple levels by being here, and I would love to see you get into some more MMA type shit and
Yeah, I
some
think
other
we got
avenues.
some cool shit coming. I'm working on some cool guys. Definitely like Cheeto. I think I'll get
Fuck.
Cheeto
Yeah.
on at some point. I want to get Sean O'Malley on at some point.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna just once he's whatever happens with the title and shit, I'm literally just gonna go to Phoenix and get a fucking Airbnb for a few days and go do jiu-jitsu at their school.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Just train
sick.
and be like, hey
Just-
boys, I'll train for a few days. If you want to do my podcast, let's do it.
I'm
If
here.
not-
Put
if
yourself
not,
in
then
the-
I'm
That's a
fucking-
good way to do it.
Yeah, then it's sick that we got to train. So, but yeah, there's so many cool people here. Yeah, hopefully the sky's the limit, and we'll just keep fucking charging.
Fuck yeah.
Looking forward to see what's next.
Yeah, keep them going, because I need that content.
Right?
There ain't very many podcasts I watch. I got you, Rogan, and a couple other ones here and
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah, no, appreciate it, boys.
we
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
your time, brother.
Thank you.
Legend.
Cheers.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
That was dope.
Yeah, it was solid.
Dude, for sure. We appreciate you.